It's ghoulish. That's the only word that can explain Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
Now that's Meghan and Lily, and I've taken the view for a long time that Meghan sees Lily as hers and Archie as Harry.
I would now use Charles Spencer's words directly to describe the acts of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You two are insane and ghoulish. You two have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place. And also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've been taken by paparazzi. Like, no, we don't want to see Meghan's ass cheeks, okay, while she's watching her children in the water. Please.
In Northamptonshire, there's a lake with a small island in the center and no bridge to reach it. That was no accident. Charles Spencer chose to remove the bridge himself because he wanted his sister's burial place to be kept apart from the outside world. He later explained that the water was there to keep away what he called the insane and the ghoulish. He also said the deep mud added another level of protection. Then, last Thursday, 11 photos showed up on Instagram.
It's just terrible. They are so full of nastiness and getting their own feelings back on everybody. They don't care.
Among those photos, one stands out most. It shows a man with two very young children, seen from behind as they walk along a long, tree-lined path. Harry is carrying a bouquet, and the little boy has one as well. I've studied that picture again and again for 6 days, and every time, my mind goes somewhere very different from where most people's does. Others have spent the week arguing over whether it was tasteful, dramatic, or just too much, even for her. But that debate misses what really matters. The real question has been there all along, and hardly anyone is asking it. Someone had to take a camera across that water.
I just don't understand how Harry could want to do this. This is for his mother, who he loves, so he says, and to turn it into a show is just beyond anything. And it's amongst all sorts of things that they've done in what they call their summer holiday, because I don't know what they're doing. Not a face do you see, not a face of these little ones. They're always back to the camera. And you just think, what are they doing? They're 5, 7. I mean, it's just disgusting.
That means someone had to be trusted with whatever it took to get there. Keys, a code, official permission, maybe even a boat. This was an island a grieving brother had intentionally made hard to reach. So the plain question is, who gave the go-ahead? The owner of that lake, Charles Spencer, has said nothing at all. Not on Thursday when the photos appeared. Not on Friday when the arguments exploded online. He stayed quiet all weekend, and even now there has been no public response. 6 days have gone by in silence. At the same time, the only things posted on Charles Spencer's own account were a black and white photo of 2 children on a swing from 1966 and another of a pony named Teddy Tar from 1972. So let's look at the reason why.
But I do think the timing is just odd. You know, it was dropped on a Thursday. Prince George's birthday was on Wednesday. On Thursday, people were still talking about the photos and still talking about Prince George's future when Meghan decides that's the appropriate day to drop photos of her children. So it is a little odd. It's a little just thirsty, you know. Back to me. I need the attention. Come on.
Meghan does not show the children's faces, and so that therefore this is somehow their privacy is being protected. It's completely absurd, frankly, because what Meghan is doing by not showing the faces or by revealing them very slowly, by revealing side portions or half portions, is feeding what marketers call a curiosity gap.
Before we even get to the flowers, keep one number in mind. Just 1 week earlier, a veteran Fleet Street Royal reporter was asked what a photo of Meghan and the 2 children back on British soil might be worth. He didn't stop to think. His reply came right away. 6 figures.
Charles, you are a legend of Fleet Street. Can you give us a ballpark figure of the value of a photograph of Meghan and the kids back in the UK? What would that go for?
Oh, 6 figures without a shout. That's
wow.
Meghan's got her cell phone ready to go. Megan's like,
Yeah, but I mean, if you remember when Fergie, the former Duchess of York, got caught having her toes sucked in Saint-Tropez, those pictures went for £1 million. So you're talking about that sort of level.
Wow.
You're talking about that sort of level of payment, and it depends, you know, in the circumstances of how the pictures were taken.
He then brought up another well-known case, one he also knew closely, when Fergie was photographed in Saint-Tropez in 1992. Those images were said to have sold for about £1 million. Keep that figure in mind because what followed this time felt very different. During the whole trip, the British press published no photos at all. No shots at the airport, none from the roads, no long lens pictures taken through hedges, and not even a grainy image of her, the children, or the vehicle said to have taken them to see the king.
A total betrayal, having promised King Charles that their UK return would be private and discreet. The Sussexes have proved once again that they cannot be trusted. You cannot do business with these people. Now, it's my understanding that King Charles was very clear about the ground rules for the Highgrove House gathering, which I'm told was barely an hour in length. And the rules were very clear. No photos, no publicity, no interviews. Good luck with that.
The whole visit seemed to be run under very tight security. After years of non-stop attention, even some tabloid papers admitted how carefully it had all been managed. And that brings up a question people have argued over for years. A family often described as unable to go anywhere in Britain without being noticed managed to fly in, travel across the country, meet the king, spend 2 nights on a private estate, and leave again without a single published photo during the trip. To some people, that showed a high level of privacy was possible. And then later, the photos were put on Instagram for the world to see.
So Meghan couldn't resist, could she? She just couldn't help herself, bending the rules with a huge photo drop on her Instagram, publicizing her UK return. She had to show off. She had to flex her muscles. She had to send a very clear message. I am back. I'm the Duchess with a capital D, and I'm an English royal princess all over again. And this is just the beginning.
Just take a moment to think about what that might mean. People usually do not give away something with major value unless they believe it matters more for another reason than for money. Sometimes the true value of a photo is not how rare it is. It is the message people think it sends, whatever that message was meant to be. Many observers felt it was never really about Summer at all.
Charles Spencer has not stopped exploiting Princess Diana. The only reason why 99.99% of the people go to the tours at Althorp is because Princess Diana grew up there, but most importantly is she's buried there. Harry and Meghan have changed everything.
Here's why Charles Spencer matters in this story. Because some of the recent coverage has made him look like a bystander. And many people would strongly disagree with that. For almost 30 years, he has overseen that island with a clear emphasis on privacy and strict control. When Netflix reportedly asked to film at Althorp for The Crown, he publicly turned them down. His position was clear, and there was no doubt he did not want the estate opened up for that production.
I'm going to call this Project Diana. We've seen Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan, using Archie and Lily now as part of the Sussex brand. But Diana's next. It's going to be a Diana documentary. Netflix will make it. They'll pay Harry and Meghan a lot of money for it. William will be furious because it will be made without his permission. It's his mother's tip.
He has also said publicly that there were 4 separate attempts over the years to reach his sister's resting place. 4 in total. According to him, every one of them was stopped. He said that is why the water remains and why the bridge was removed. Not only because of grief, but because of security. That does not sound like someone naive or easily surprised. He has made it clear for a long time that he understands how far some people may go to get close to her grave.
My crystal ball has turned out to be true so far. In a couple of weeks, maybe 2027, Meghan Markle is going to come out with a limited edition Princess Diana as ever candle. Okay, I hope when she drops the Princess Diana candle, it actually has a wick. Okay, Prince Harry, he's wickless. He has no wick. She's witless. This is absolutely on another level. Like, did she go and sprinkle flower sprinkles at Diana's gravesite? I won't be shocked. Is that the next Instagram video that we're gonna get?
Then, in the second week of July, he reportedly opened the estate and allowed them to stay. Before anything went ahead, one condition was said to be clearly set: no cameras, if that version of events is correct. That makes what happened next even more striking. People have argued over whether that instruction came from the king or from the Earl. But one part of the story needs closer attention. An American journalist was one of the first to highlight what they saw as a gap in the story.
And the fact is that Harry stayed in London and no one revealed where he was staying. I don't think anybody actually found out where he was staying. He wasn't staying at the palace because we know that was quite documented that he wasn't going to get a room at the palace. I mean, if he ended up staying at the palace, then, you know, job done. But nobody actually said he was staying at a particular hotel or a particular private place. And
Right.
It's exactly the same up in Birmingham. We don't know where he's...
No cameras would normally mean no film crew, no production van, no lighting setup, and no sound team. But almost no one seemed to consider the most obvious possibility: a mobile phone in someone's pocket. At some point, a phone appears to have been used on that island because the photos were later posted publicly and everyone has now seen them. So what actually happened? Did he approve it and then face a level of backlash he never saw coming? Or did he have no idea the images would be shared until Thursday like everyone else? I honestly don't know. And that is exactly why his silence has attracted so much attention and left so many people asking the same thing.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Meghan Markle had the front to brief the mainstream media that it was her who was never going to release pictures of the children with King Charles. It was her who's so determined to protect their privacy. And then this dump on Instagram, when finally it's revealed by people within the mainstream media that life within this marriage ain't happy. We know that Prince William's strongly held and deeply passionate view is that this site must remain sacred.
Family outing to go see the grave on private property. Not to mention, Diana's brother, the Earl, had said no cameras. And by that, he meant no camera crews. But he clearly didn't mean a camera phone, which means, of course, when they went over to the island, there was obviously a camera phone with them. Is there photos? Are there videos? Harry is thinking of doing next year for the 30th anniversary of her death, which is also incredibly ghoulish.
Now we come to the part that stands out most to me, and it is something few people seem ready to say plainly. Meghan is not in that photo. Look again. The picture shows Harry with a 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl, each carrying flowers as they walk down a path toward the island. This is the same island that his mother's brother deliberately made hard to reach. Harry has spoken about that bridge before and knows the story behind it better than most. In his memoir, he said the bridge was removed to help protect his mother's grave and keep intruders away. By his own telling, he understood exactly why those security steps were put in place, and he shared that explanation with readers around the world.
When Harry writes in Spare how awful it was being in a goldfish bowl as a prince, and the glare of publicity, the gilded cage, and yet here we go again. So obviously it's about...
There's another date that makes this story even more striking. On July 1, 2017, which would have been her 56th birthday, a small rededication service was held at the gravesite. William was there. Catherine was there as well. Harry also attended, along with 2 of the Wales children, and the service was led by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Not a single photo from that day was ever released. Not one. The event was meant to stay fully private, and everyone involved respected that. Harry had already stood at that exact place beside his brother during a moment when that privacy was fully honored. Years later, he walked that same path again during another visit. But this time, by Thursday, photos from the occasion had been shared publicly, and the reaction was completely different.
Prince William has made a bold, shocking, dramatic move, one that nobody can stop him from doing. With this, he has said enough is enough. You will not exploit the remains of my dead.
For years, he has said in public that other people gained from stories and images linked to his mother. He has repeated that point in interviews and other appearances, arguing that her memory was used in ways he deeply opposed. That larger argument has stretched across books, documentaries, court cases, and Netflix series and a memoir. In this case, he was the one carrying the flowers, and that choice was his alone. Many people have also noticed how carefully much of the media has handled that part of the story.
He will never get what he wants. If he is going to continue, then I think he needs psychiatric help.
I think that he is going to continue, because if he is capable of just throwing this away, this campaign away, then why didn't we see Harry with Meghan in the UK? It's as if, and they do this constantly, it's as if they're punishing us by not allowing us to be graced with Meghan Markle's presence throughout the trip. She's in hiding at Althorp. She doesn't show up to the Invictus event. He treats it as if this is some big loss to humanity that Meghan Markle is not available for paparazzi shots or for photos, when in reality, I think that there was a huge sense of relief from the Invictus organizers that they didn't have to deal with the chaos.
Nearly all the criticism has landed on her. People have said she was the one who posted it, picked the photos, cropped them, and wrote the caption. That is part of the public debate, but it has also led others to ask a harder question. Why is a 41-year-old man who walked down that avenue carrying flowers sometimes spoken about as if he had no part in any of it? He was there on that island, in that photo, holding those flowers. He has also spoken publicly in the past about what that place means to him, which is why some people believe his role should be examined too. What was said or agreed before the visit is still not known publicly. What is known is that he was there when those moments happened, and later the photos were shared with the world. Even Piers Morgan chose not to write a full column about it and instead posted just one word in the comments: privacy. That single word quickly drew attention.
Meghan doesn't really like to hang out with anyone who's worth under 10 million, really. But clearly they flew in a private plane. Their dog is there. You know, they didn't put their dog in storage in Delta. And it's all very elitist for me. It's just, did this need to happen? I don't think it did.
Prince and Princess of Wales drop a grown-up picture of Prince George to celebrate his 13th birthday milestone, and now all of a sudden Archie has grown 4 inches. And specifically Summer Bell adding Prince George was seen sitting in a plane, so of course Meghan just had to make sure Archie was seen doing the same. She is a crazy stalker.
Now place those two dates side by side, because the timing is one detail many people picked up on, and once you notice it, it is hard to overlook. On Wednesday, July 26th, the Prince and Princess of Wales released a birthday photo of their eldest son for his 13th birthday. It was taken on the steps of Kensington Palace and had the feel of a simple, classic family portrait. Then came Thursday, July 23rd, when 11 photos were posted from Montecito. Only one day stood between the two moments. That is the full timeline. And there is one more point to add, because many people online seem to have gotten this part of the story wrong.
Most definitely. They are now leveraging the kids for clicks, for headlines, to boost their brand, and for money. Why else would you put your kids on Instagram? I got 2 kids, they're grown up, they're not on my social media. I'm not incentivized in any way to share images of my children with the public.
Many people keep saying the timing was tied to a product launch, with jam, honey, or even wine mentioned as possible reasons. But that explanation does not really fit the timeline. The lavender honey had reportedly gone on sale around 3 weeks earlier, so that launch was already over. Because of that, some people believe this was not really about a product at all. Instead, they think the timing matches a birthday more closely. You can decide for yourself. And that leads to what may be the strangest part of the whole story, according to a royal writer who has been following these events over the past year.
What's happening, I think, with Archie and Lily is they're being brought front and centre into the Sussex brand. They've been referenced when it comes to their charity work and Archwell Philanthropies, which, by the way, changes its name every 10 minutes because that's another hot mess.
The scenes in those photos, by the pool, with the beagle, at the seaside restaurant, and laughing over red wine, came from the exact same period that public reports described as extremely difficult. During that time, there were reports of statements being issued and then pulled back, a continuing security dispute with the British government, and claims that the family traveled separately because of safety concerns. There were also reports saying Harry was highly emotional during phone calls and that Meghan was going through deep sadness.
Harry is not a frontline serving member of the family. And that return to the UK just a couple of weeks ago called Harry and Meghan's bluff. It proved that they can come to the United Kingdom and they can be in a blacked out SUV and they can go into Highgrove House. They can get around the country in and out perfectly safely. And it completely destroys Harry's argument about having armed cops. You could argue that if he had the blue lights and the helicopters and the police outriders, he'd be more vulnerable.
It would draw attention.
It's telling everyone where you are at all times.
3 weeks later, that same period was being shown as a cheerful, picture-perfect summer. One royal writer gave what many saw as the most interesting view of the week. He argued that the photo carousel was not meant to deny that the previous weeks have been hard. Instead, he said it redirected attention away from arguing over the facts in the first place. That idea made a lot of people pause. It is very hard to argue with someone when they are sending a message instead of making a clear factual case.
Meghan Markle knows what she's doing. Meghan Markle is not a dumb girl. In my opinion, she's a narcissist, she's a sociopath, she understands how the game is played. She was not gonna go to Diana's gravesite and not post a picture. I wanna know who's taking the picture in the black bathing suit. I will also say, because this is why y'all tune into this show, she's not delivering it like Princess Diana, but she must really think she's hot.
This is where my view starts to part company with much of what people have been saying all week. Many have insisted the site is sacred and that she would never have supported anything like this. I have heard that argument over and over, but it raises a different thought for me. Some of us remember very clearly how she managed life under public scrutiny. Information from inside her marriage was passed through an intermediary for Andrew Morton's book, and that story became a huge bestseller. Then there was the Panorama interview, filmed inside Kensington Palace, which had a massive public effect. Add to that the famous pictures from the south of France, the gym photos, and the long-running questions about how some of those images came to exist. Once you remember that history, the issue becomes far more complex than many people make it sound.
It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it? This is a woman who's claimed for years that all she wants for her family is privacy, and then she commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see.
Diana understood the power of a camera better than almost anyone in public life. Many commentators have said she knew exactly how to use media attention to shape public opinion during some of the hardest periods of her life. Whether people approved of those choices or not, they left a lasting mark. That is one reason people are still talking about her today. For that reason, I do not think it is as simple as claiming that any photograph would automatically have offended her. There is also another part of this story that is rarely mentioned. Her resting place has been at the center of controversy before, and that time it had nothing to do with Meghan Markle. In 1998, Charles Spencer opened the estate to paying visitors on his sister's birthday, with tickets reportedly costing $15.75. Elton John publicly attacked the decision, calling it deeply tacky and criticizing what he saw as turning her memory into a commercial attraction. That part of the story is rarely given the same attention today.
Charles Spencer was instrumental in Princess Diana's divorce and her untimely death. This man now is trying to rewrite history to avoid complete accountability from their actions. His actions are absolutely consequential to why his sister is now dead. Charles Spencer is a really nasty man. He's been divorced 4 times. Most of his kids are not speaking to him. He is a very unpleasant kind of man, and he has since stopped exploiting Princess Diana's memory, her death, her place of final rest.
Interesting, isn't it? One point many people raise when they say royal burial sites should never be photographed is this. In September 2022, Buckingham Palace itself released an official image of the late Queen's ledger stone at Windsor. Because the palace chose to publish that photo, some people argue there is no single rule for every case. Instead, they focus on the special setup around this island. Based on Charles Spencer's public comments, those protections were put in place after repeated attempts to reach his sister's resting place, with security as the main priority.
She knows exactly what she's doing here, including the weird cosplay of Princess Diana and the even weirder decision to try and overshadow Prince George's 13th birthday with new pictures of Archie.
So let me say it as plainly as I can. This is the thought that has stayed with me since Thursday. To me, she was not following what some people called Diana's rules. She was using a media style that many have long linked to Diana instead, a tightly controlled release, a photo made to look natural while likely chosen with care, and images that send a message without ever needing to explain it publicly.
The last, 8-10 years of all the outfits she's copied of Diana's. And, it's actually quite Oedipal and weird. It's almost as if she's trying to remind Harry, I'm Mummy. And remember, you married
I'm
the woman.
I'm still in her perfume.
Yes, exactly. I'm the woman that your mother sent you to marry. I'm embodying her spirit.
That is what makes this kind of strategy so powerful. Other people end up saying the rest for you. Montecito did not create that approach. Some commentators believe it goes back to Kensington Palace in the early 1990s, when Diana began using carefully managed public messaging during one of the hardest periods of her life. And if you were wondering why some reports suggest the Prince of Wales is quietly unhappy about a photo he has never spoken about in public, I do not think the real issue is the lake, the hedge, or even the flowers. In my view, it is the message many people believe those images were meant to send.
Earl Spencer has banned Prince William and Prince Harry to be buried next to Princess Diana in case they wanted to do so. Yes, he forbade them both from doing that. Insane, isn't it? All of this because he wants to keep exploiting Princess Diana. But, oh my God, the grift is over. It's the end. They took it too far.
He grew up with the damage this kind of media strategy can cause and saw it for himself at the age of 12. Since then, many people believe he has spent much of his adult life trying to choose a very different way, even when that came at a personal price. Now, some commentators think he is seeing a style of public messaging, often linked to his mother, being used in a way that invites difficult comparisons with his brother's family. You can call it a matter of taste, but others believe it goes much deeper. To them, this is really about legacy, image, and who gets to control the story. And that brings us back to the lake and to the man on the other side of it, saying nothing. One royal commentator raised a point many felt deserved more attention. The argument was simple. If those photos were taken at Althorp, then they were taken on Spencer family land. If the Earl gave permission, then there was no trespassing, no covert mission, no major security failure, and no camera secretly slipped past guards. It would simply have been a private family visit followed later by the public release of photos. Seen that way, the whole situation looks far less dramatic than many headlines suggested. But that opens up another question. If that is what happened, why not just say so? A brief public statement could have cleared up much of the confusion. Instead, there has been no explanation at all. His social media has stayed focused on old personal photos, including a swing from 1966 and a pony from 1972. Other than that, there has been silence, and that silence has left plenty of space for speculation. There was already another story circulating before the photos were ever posted. Reports claimed the visit might be connected to a program planned for next year to mark 30 years since Diana's death. One royal biographer has suggested the photos may have been taken with that future project in mind, and that this could have been one reason for the trip. If there is any truth in that idea, some people think Charles Spencer's silence may not be about anger at all. They believe he may simply have decided not to comment publicly. Of course, that is only one possible reading. Another is that he approved everything from the start. Another is that he did not expect the images to be made public. Without a public statement, nobody outside the people directly involved can know for sure. But one question still stands above the rest. Who was holding the phone that took those pictures? After days of debate, no public report has clearly identified that person. No photographer has been confirmed. No friend has been named. No staff member has been publicly identified. No official explanation has filled that gap, and that missing detail is one reason the story has kept going. After nearly 30 years without a bridge to that island, someone still found a way across. Whatever explanation you believe, the debate continues because key questions still have no public answer. Now I want to know what you think. Which explanation makes the most sense to you? Do you believe permission was given from the start, or do you think something else happened? Share your view in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who follows the royal family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.